In this problem, we're going to look at a story problem that involves area, and actually it's going to lead us to having a quadratic equation that we have to deal with. So let's take a look and see what's going on here. You want to buy a rug for a room, and the room is 14 feet by 16 feet. And you want to leave an even strip of flooring uncovered around the edges of the room. How wide a strip will you have if you buy a rug that creates that even strip around the room, and that rug has an area of 80 square feet? Anytime you're dealing with shapes, you definitely want to draw a picture. So I've started us off here drawing a picture of our room. And let's go ahead and label what we know. We know that the room is 14 feet by 16 feet. So this is going to be 16 feet, and this is going to be 14 feet. And then we're going to buy a rug that's going to go inside this room and create an even strip. Let's see if I can, maybe something like that. See, this is our rug in here. We want this even strip to be flooring. So our rug, if I don't make too much of a mess here, is going to be, all this stuff. This is our rug. This flooring in here. Okay, and then this outside part out here is the strip, and that's what we're trying to find, because it says how wide a strip will you have if you buy a rug that creates this even strip, and the rug has an area of 80 square feet. So we know the area of the rug is 80 square feet, and we want to figure out this strip. So let's put a variable in there. That's really important when you're doing a story problem, is thinking, okay, what is it that I'm trying to find? Because that's where your variable is going to go. So let's let this distance of this strip right here, however wide that is, that's going to be x. And that's going to be the same all the way around. So from here to here is x. From here to here is x. From here to here is x. Okay, now we know the area of the rug is 80 square feet. We don't have that in our picture. That's going to be this. Let's put a big old 80 right in here. The area of this square right here is 80 square feet. Okay, so how do you find area? How do you find area of a rectangle? That should be the next thing that pops in your head, because we got rectangles and we got area. Hopefully, you remember that the area of a rectangle equals length times width. Length times width, or abbreviated nice and algebraically, A equals L times W. So we know the area of our rug equals the length of our rug times the width of our rug. But we don't know the length and width of our rug. We're going to have to express that algebraically. So we know that this width, we know this width right here is 16. From here to here is 16. Okay, what we want to figure out is algebraically, how far is the length of our rug? How far is it from here to here? Well, it's less than 16, isn't it? It's definitely less than 16. How much less than 16? Alright, notice that from here to here is x, because that's the width of our strip that we're leaving on the flooring. And on the other side we have the same thing. Here to here is x. So we know that our rug is smaller than 16 by how much? By 2 x's. So therefore, the length of our rug is 16 minus 2x. 16, this whole length, take away 2 x's, which are the strips. That is the length of our rug. So I'm going to go over here to our formula, and we know the area is 80, so I'm going to put that in there. Bring down the equal sign. We just determined the length to be 16 take away 2x. And the width now is going to be a similar situation, right? We've got 14 as the width of our room, and we want to find the width of our rug right here, which is definitely less than 14. How much less than 14? Well, we got x right there. We got x right there. So x plus x is 2x. It's 2x less than the width of the room. So 14 take away 2x is going to give us the width of our rug. That's the hardest part right there, really, as far as the story problem. Not 14 take away 2x and 16 take away 2x. Anytime you're dealing with a border problem, you should always kind of be looking for this 2x business. The biggest mistake people make is they just minus x, or if it's a different kind of problem, add x. But whenever you have a border going all the way around a rectangle, you've got two x's. And that's a common situation because you got that border on both sides of your rectangle when you have a rectangle inside a rectangle. Another type of common problem is like a pool with a walkway around it, a garden with some kind of fence around it, you know, those kind of problems. Alright, so now that we have the tough part over, let's go ahead and solve this sucker. So we need to FOIL this out, and then set it equal to 0, and then see what we have. Here we go. Let's FOIL this. We got some bigger numbers to use, but that's okay. We can handle it. So 16, let me use the red here and show what we're doing. We're going to go 16 times 14, 16 times negative 2x, then negative 2x times 14, and negative 2x times negative 2x. So 16 times 14 is 224. 16 times negative 2x is negative 32x. Negative 2 times 14 is negative 28x. Negative 2x times negative 2x is positive 4x squared. Squared. Alright, we see that squared. Red flags go off. This is going to be a quadratic equation. So that means we're not trying to get x by itself on one side and all the numbers on the other side. Because there's this x squared, we have to set this equal to 0. So that means we're going to minus the 80 over. And we have to set it equal to 0 to either factor it or use the quadratic formula. I'm also going to combine like terms on this step. I'm going to get my 32x, negative 32x, and my negative 28x together. And I'm going to write this in descending form. What I mean by that is I'm going to put my 4x squared first, and then my x's. So let's see, negative 32 and negative 28 is going to be negative 60. And then I'm going to put my constant term at the end. 224 take away 80 is a positive 144. So now we're in quadratic form. Ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Now I could just jump right in and put this in the quadratic formula or try to factor it, but I'm really noticing 4, 60, and 144, they're definitely all even, so 2 goes into all of them, and I think 4 goes into all of them. So I can actually take a 4 out of there or divide both sides by 4, divide everything by 4, which is going to make my numbers a lot smaller. Just make sure you divide everything. It has to go into all of them. So 4 divided by 4 is 1, 60 divided by 4 is 15, 144 divided by 4 is 36. Now if you didn't see that, you would have still got it right, but always look for that because it's going to make the numbers a lot easier. Now at this point, I either have to see if it'll factor or use the quadratic formula. And with only a 1 in front of the x squared, I'm thinking I could check this out and see if it'll factor. In order to see whether it factors, I got to see if something multiplies to be 36 and adds to be negative 15. And actually, I'm thinking we might have a negative 12 and a negative 3. I think that'll work. And with the 1 in front of the x squared, it makes it easy to factor. You just go x times x is x squared, and then you use these two numbers right here, negative 12, negative 3. And you could check this out, you could FOIL this out and see that it does come out to be a positive 36. Alright, so now we know that x minus 12 equals 0 or x minus 3 equals 0. So we get x equals 12 or x equals 3. Whenever you're doing a story problem, you want to put those two numbers back in and make sure they make sense. Let's look at the 12. What if my border was 12 right here? What if this border was 12 and this border was 12? Well, 12 and 12 add up to be 24. My border is 24. That's impossible because the length of my room is only 16. So even though 12 solves the equation, it creates a solution that is not applicable to our problem. So we have to throw that out. 3, on the other hand, works out really well. We'll take this 12 out of there. If I have 3 on each side, 3 and 3 is 6. So that makes this side 10. If I have 3 and 3 here, that's 6. 14 take away 6 is 8. And my picture's getting extremely sloppy, but I've got a length of 10, a width of 8. That does multiply to be 80. So that is the right answer. 3 feet is going to be our border. Alright, I hope that helped, and you might want to watch that over again, or try it all by yourself. Start the video again, try it all by yourself, and then watch the video and make sure you got it right. Hope that helped.